mental health and spirituality. Let's talk about it. What's up, everybody? It's your favorite goddess king. It's your favorite pirate captain. It's your favorite hood healer, high priestess, spiritual dominatrix, LadySpeech in the place to be, and I want to welcome you back to my channel. You could be anywhere in the world. As a matter of fact, baby, you are somewhere in the world, and you're choosing to share a little bit of time and space with me. So thank you for that. Now, if you like what I'm doing, if you like what you see, if you're feeling any of this, baby, if you're feeling any of me, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can keep up with everything I'm putting down over here, because it's random and it's good, okay? It's random, but it's good. Now, let's hop into today's video, shall we? First and foremost, I want to begin with saying there is no shame, absolutely, positively no shame in being neurodivergent or neurospicy, like I like to say. There is no shame in dealing with mental illness. There is no shame in taking medication. There is no shame in seeing a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a counselor, a therapist. There is no shame in seeking treatment for your mental illness, for your mental health, for your mental wellness. There is no shame in seeking or having a diagnosis, an explanation for the way you think or your brain works. There is no shame in having a brain that has dealt with a lot of trauma. And there is no shame in having a brain that is dealing with an injury. You are valid here. You matter here. There is no shame in any of that. I also want to take the time to reiterate that you are not less spiritual because you pursue help for your mental wellness and health. You are not less spiritual because you go to therapy. You are not less spiritual. You are not less magic because you take medication. I wanted to make that explicitly clear before we move on. I am very aware of how many gurus, guides, and spiritual teachers make folks feel so much shame and so much embarrassment for pursuing help outside of the spiritual realm for their mental wellness, for their issues, for their diagnoses. And over here in this space, that's something I'm not going to do to you. And that's in part why I'm making this video today. So whatever you are doing to pursue help, whatever you are doing to help yourself make sense of how your brain operates and works, whatever you are doing to do the work, there is no shame over here. I want to make it clear that this is more than likely going to be the first of many videos about the subject. I feel like it's really important as a teacher, as a guru, as a guide. It's important for us to have this conversation. Today we're going to go over a few points, but please believe I have a lot to say about this subject. Feel free to chime in the comments with your own story, with what you think, with any experiences you may have had around any of the points that I am making. All right, I value everyone's opinion here, so let's get into it. Now, in my opinion and in my experience, I am a big and firm believer in faith, in your spiritual practice, in your religious practice, being able to assist you in navigating, in healing, in coping with a lot of your mental health and mental wellness, okay? Not only have I experienced my own spiritual practice and my own spiritual walk assisting me in my path of healing, in my path of navigating my mental health, I've also witnessed it in others from several different traditions and from several different faiths. So I want to make it clear that I'm a firm believer that your faith, that your religion, that your spiritual practice can contribute in beautiful and concrete ways to your healing journey and in your mental health and wellness walk. All right. Now, with that being said, I am also a firm believer that your spiritual practice, that your religion, that your faith is not a substitute for trauma-informed care. It's not a substitute for therapy. It's not a substitute for a consultation with a psychiatrist, with a psychologist. It's not a substitute for very real and actual mental health diagnosis. It's not a substitute for separate work that oftentimes needs to be done when it comes to mental health work, in addition to spiritual health and wellness and practices. Your spiritual teachers, your gurus and your guides, your shaman, your priests, your reverends, as amazing and well-studied and well-knowledgeable as they are, many of them are not adequate substitutes for licensed and trained counselors, therapists, psychologists, and psychiatrists. And every once in a while and every now and again, you will encounter a skilled practitioner, a high-ranking priest, priestess, a well-studied shaman, a spiritual teacher, a reverend, a guru, a guide, who also is a licensed counselor, who also happens to be a psychologist or a therapist or a psychiatrist. Those are really wonderful and serendipitous pairings. I have been fortunate to hold peer space with several folks who function in the dual space, such as that. And I have also had the privilege and the honor of being healed and working with personal healers who held both spaces, who had their degrees in psychology, who studied the mind and mental health issues, and who also are students of their spirituality. When you and if you can find a healer who can straddle both and who contains this duality, you, my friend, are winning. But like I said before, if this teacher, if the guru, if the guide, if the priest is not licensed, has not trained in the mind, is not trauma informed, they are not an adequate substitute for mental health professionals. One thing for certain and two things for sure. You can use your faith, you can use your spirituality, you can use your religion to either assist you in your mental health walk, mental wellness healing journey, or you can use it to spiritually bypass everything you need to be doing on your mental wellness, mental health walk and journey, okay? It can go both ways, and I've seen it go both ways. Oftentimes in organized religion, you see it happen when you're dealing with something, a mental health issue, and the pastor or the spiritual leader tells you to simply pray it away. Tell Jesus, and he'll take care of it. Tell Allah, and Allah will take care of it. Now, when they say pray anyway, they don't tell you to pray for the proper therapist. They don't tell you to pray for the proper tools. They don't tell you to pray for the proper assistants and professionals that can help you navigate this. They don't tell you to pray for trauma-informed care. They don't tell you to pray for that. No, they just tell you to pray. And sky daddies are going to take it away, okay? Now, I am a firm believer that prayer helps. And I have used prayer in times of mental health issues and meltdowns and things, and it has been of great assistance. But I'm going to tell you something. Just praying in a way doesn't usually work when you're dealing with things like DID, when you're dealing with things like clinical depression, when you're dealing with things like schizophrenia, when you're dealing with things like being bipolar, when you're dealing with things like chemical imbalances in the brain, when you're dealing with things like brain injuries, when you're dealing with things like complex PTSD. See, those things need a little bit more assistance than prayer. And those things don't need to be prayed away. They need to be dealt with. One of the ways that I have myself witnessed my spiritual practice aid in my mental health wellness journey in my life, and how I've seen it work in other people's life, from organized religion to pagan religions, is coping mechanisms. There are so many things that are a part of my practice that when I engage them actually help me process and deal with my emotions. From certain offerings I need to make in certain times to certain spirits, to actually spending time outside and spending time connecting with nature and with plants and with animals, to other different activities that give me spaces and time to process my feelings or emotions, or the activity calls me into touching base with different aspects and parts of myself. These things have definitely assisted me. I'll tell you what else has assisted me. Prayer. Praying for the resources. Every single time I've applied my prayer, I've applied my magic, my conjuring, my hoodoo to my mental health, it has been in the name of gathering my resources. Every single time I've prayed for, conjured up, and done a spell to bring me the right therapist, to bring me the right counselor, to bring me the right book I need to read, to bring me the right resources I need to read, I need to have at my disposal. Every single time I've done a working in the name of gaining more mental health resources for myself outside of my faith, it has worked. It has worked. It has worked. It has worked. If you don't think I'm out here raw dogging it, honey. Although I'm a big believer in therapy, baby, I also am very clear that not all therapists are good therapists, and you need a therapist that's good for you. One who's at the very least culturally competent, okay? And if you can get it, one who understands your spiritual system as well, all right? So finding the right therapist for you is very important, and I have definitely used my spirituality and my spiritual practice to guarantee some results for me. But again, I don't use my spiritual practice in place of very practical things that need to happen in the name of my mental health, okay? And if I were you, I would not trust any spiritual leader, guru, or guide who preaches, who spouts that your spiritual practice is the end all be all. I would beware of that. And you're going to find that everywhere, baby. I've seen that in Christianity. I've seen it in Islam. I've seen it in Wicca. I've seen it in African traditional religions. I've seen it in Santeria and Candomblé. I've seen it. And most oftentimes, the people that I see who are fellow leaders, gurus, guides, teachers, the ones that I see spouting this are oftentimes the ones who are dealing with some very interesting and extreme mental health issues behind the scenes. Because, baby, let me let y'all in on a little secret. There are a lot of us who are called to the cloth. There are a lot of us who are called to lead spiritually, who have a calling on our life, who have some very interesting brain workings, okay? Many of your favorite gurus and guides are actually autistic, are dealing with ADHD, are living with ADHD, are thriving with ADHD. Deal with complex PTSD. Deal with PTSD. Deal with brain injuries. This is not uncommon, all right? And like I said, I oftentimes see those of us who are hell-bent on not seeking help for ourselves, and then we turn around and tell our followings not to seek help in those ways as well. Oftentimes, those are the ones who are suffering the most behind the scenes and in front of your face. Those are oftentimes the ones who you will find have lots of scandals following them. It's hard for them to be accountable. Yeah, beware of that. Beware of that. I don't trust a spiritual guide, guru, or teacher, no matter the faith, that doesn't understand the complexities of mental health issues and doesn't take that into account when dealing with their clients, their flock, their congregation, or their following. Be very aware of those types of teachers. Now, I didn't want to take up all your time. I just want to take up a little bit of your time. So I'm going to just make this last little point right here. And once again, like I said, we're going to keep having this conversation. We're going to continue this conversation in the comments. And we're also going to continue this conversation in a few other videos, okay? But I do want to say this, because I think it's important to verbalize out loud, okay? There will be times when your mental health issues or your mental wellness will get in the way of your spiritual practice. Now, I want to take you back to the beginning of this video when I tried to impress upon you that there is no shame in dealing with mental health issues. I want you to remember that. I want you to remember that when you are having days where you can't make your offerings because the clinical depression is crippling. I want you to remember that when you are coming down from a manic depressive episode. I want you to remember that when you haven't had access to your medication and your schizophrenia has gone off the rails. I want you to remember that as you are dealing with DID and one of your alters doesn't believe in what you believe in. I want you to remember that when you are dealing with the small issues to the big issues. And I want you to remember that a huge part of your spiritual practice is forming solid relationships with your spiritual team. And I can tell you that your spiritual team sees you. They see all of you. They understand that you are shouldering a lot. And they're not like humans. Even though I deal with spirits that run a tight ship, and even though I am being called to even more responsibilities, which means my schedule, which means the things I have to do will be even more tightened up, the spirits see me and they see the level of my devotion. They know that when I got it, they got it. They understand that when I'm up, they're up. They know that when I am all the way in, I'm all the way in. And they see me on the days when it's a struggle. They see me on the days when my spirit is tired. And they accept the best of what I have to give that day because they see me. They accept me. On the days that I can push past, when I can feel my mental health issues rising and it's going to get in the way of my spiritual practice, and I can get above it, I can get ahead of it, and I can push past it, they mark that. They see that. Because there are days when I ain't got that. And all I can do is offer them up a prayer from my bed. Now, this also counts for those of us who are physically disabled as well as mentally disabled. Your spirits see you. They know what you have the capacity to do. Honey, sometimes all you got is words. Sometimes all you got is a prayer. All you got is a thought. All you got is the offering of a glass of water and a tea light candle. Sometimes all you got is the bare minimum, but if it's coming from your devotion, if it's coming from the depths of your faith, if it's coming from your love, they will adapt and they will accept because they see you. Because you are devoted to them. Because you walk in faith with them. Because you have a relationship with them. So yes, there will be times when your mental health, when your mental disability or your physical disability will get in the way or will cause your practice to be adapted in a customized way for you. And you just got to know that that is okay. That's okay. I've been in the game so long and I've been practicing that there is now protocol for me and my spirits when I ain't feeling the best, physically or mentally. Baby, last year, I wasn't feeling the best all year due to some of the heaviest grief I have ever had to process. I wasn't on my game with my spirits like I usually am, and I got taken down to the barest bones of my practice. And that's what needed to happen in order for me to survive, in order for me to heal, in order for me to thrive. And you know what? I was not punished by my spirits, and you won't be either. They recognize you. They see you. They know what you're working with. As long as you are trying your best, as long as you are holding yourself accountable, as long as you are giving it all that you got, that's usually good enough for them. And that's that on mental health. And that's that on spirituality. And that's that on not using your spirituality to bypass doing the work on your mental health. If you made it to the end of this video, gold star for you. Ooh, you did so good. Now, I didn't want to take up all of your time. I just want to take up a bit of your time. And like I said, this is the first of many conversations. I have a lot of points to make about this. I have a few things to say because I'm awfully tired. I'm awfully tired of seeing gurus and gads and teachers out here in these streets messing up they flock, their congregation, they people, they following because they are mentally ill as hell and doing nothing about it. And I'm awfully tired of seeing a lot of y'all out here spiritually bypassing in these streets, trying to conjure up a spell when you need to go to therapy. Doing all these workings on everybody else when you need to work on your anger issues, okay? So many of you out here throwing hexes and curses at people when you out here messing up your own lineage and cursing yourself. Work on your anger issues. Why are you hexing everybody? Why? Why do you got so many problems in that capacity? Okay, you sit down, okay? Learn to communicate better, all right? I have a lot to say about this, so this is going to be the first of many videos, okay? But let's get it in the comments, okay? Talk to me, baby. Have you had any experience with this? Do you know somebody who is currently spiritually bypassing? Have you done it? Because it's easy. We've all done it. We've all done it. We've all done it. Have you experienced using your spirituality to help you in your mental health issues? Okay, like I said, there are so many coping mechanisms that are so valued to me and that have helped me process even just the act of tending to my altars. That does something, that the act of that always brings out profound lessons and just a lot for me. So let me know. Let's get down in the comments, and also let me know what other points you would like me to touch down on when I do the next parts in this series. All right. Now with that being said, it's time for me to say goodbye. Thank you so much for hanging on to the end of this video, baby. You are appreciated and well loved by me. Now you know the drill. If you like what I'm doing, if you like what you see, if you're feeling any of this, if you're feeling any of me, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notifications bell to keep up with everything I'm putting down over here, okay? Keep up with me, baby. Keep up with me, baby. Now, God, Goddess, Orisha, Loa, my spirit guides and my ancestors and the universe willing, I'm gonna see you in the next video. I love you. I live you. Thank you. Peace.